So do that when you go home. Do that when next time you're reading this with your kids. Listen to the sound of a loon, and that whole paragraph will come alive, because he talks about how at first when he heard the calls of the loons, he thought they were wolves. It's such an eerie, piercing sound. And then when he realized it was, he learned later that it was loons, then he enjoyed the sound of the loons, and it made him feel like he had company out there in the wilderness. So listen to the sounds of a loon, and then what's fun is that we also have loons here in California. They're indigenous to the Monterey Bay area, and those are a western loon. I'm not sure if their call is the same. We didn't get that far in our research, but anyway, those are the kinds of things that you want to work on bringing out with your students. Okay, now vocabulary. I don't know about any of you, but I was so overwhelmed by the vocabulary for Richard Blackford's poem. It was just like, okay, let's see. And then Kit sat under his intractable gaze and wished he would not stare at her like that or something, And my third grader's just like, his what? His intractable gaze? And it's just like, there were so many wonderful words in there for my eighth grader, but for the third grader, it was just way over the top. So I did a very simple application of the vocabulary because, again, I like pictures. Pictures speak to me, and pictures worth 1,000 words. So we pulled out some vocabulary from Side of the Beaver. So we did loon. Okay, do you remember blunderbuss? Does anyone remember what a blunderbuss is? Isn't that a great word? Who would think of naming a gun a blunderbuss? It sounds like a gun that maybe, let's see, Vice President Cheney would have used. Blunderbuss? Okay, this is a blunderbuss. They're for real, yeah. And I mean, they were a foreign. Do you guys remember reading Matchlock Gun at the end of last year? Matchlock Gun was a matchlock, and he mentioned his matchlock gun. I mean, these were guns where the barrels were 4 to 5 feet long. They were very difficult to negotiate. And because they were so heavy, they were all made out of brass. I mean, this blunderbuss, the entire barrel is made of brass. So that was a really hefty gun to leave with a little 12-year-old. But he didn't have a long time to use it, did he? So anyway, so that's what we did for blunderbuss. And then how about punching table? Did anyone look up punching table? Yeah, that's a really fun word too. This is a punching table. I drew that. See, this is what a great artist I am. You can't even figure it out, can you? It's a punching table is just wood slats spread across two barrels, sort of like your college students. So that's a punching table. So rather than having to do everything written out, do pictures. Pictures are fun. It makes it a lot more fun for the kids, and obviously your older kids can write them out. But and I did go ahead and give you some pictures, so look at your pages there. Those are what those are for. You have a blunderbuss. And you, did you put your artwork? No. I have to distribute my own artwork. It's too humiliating. Most of these pictures are from Genevieve Foster's books, and then I've drawn from a few other resources. And one of those resources I want to tell you about, because from the time I first started homeschooling, I started using Edwin Tunis's books. And when I bought them, it was a huge splurge for me because they were like $20 for a hardback or something. Now you can get them online for like $2.50. It's really tragic, but part of the reason we chose, part of the reason we chose Sign of the Beaver is because we want to integrate the history of the Indians into this section. So that's why we chose this book, and we want you to learn about the American Indians during this period, because this is sort of the last chance we have in our historical period to learn about the indigenous, American Indians. After this period, they're really kind of out of the picture. I mean, we virtually, wiped them off the map. So, and forced them so far west that they lost a lot of their culture. And yes.
I just have a question for you as a parent. What you would do? My daughter's African American, Native American English. So coming across words like Indian and Redskins
Mhm.
and Negro are really awkward.
Yes.
So trying, like, me and James had never spoken to her about slavery, and this Witch of Occoquan was the first time she ever heard that. And so to see, like, a character that you're supposed to like kind of condone something like that, it was really hard, that struggle. And even the word Indians, you know, it's Native Americans. Like, when they came here, they thought they were in India, so they called them Indians.
Right.
So the political correctness of that is Native American. So how do you do all that without undermining the literature? You know what I mean? Or undermining who we're supposed to be idolizing. Like a George Washington or someone that we're saying did really great things and might have done other things that to your culture were really negative.
It's a really, really great question, and the answers are complicated. There's no real simple answer. But a lot of the literature we're using did use language that we don't tend to use as much anymore. We don't tend to use the word Negro at all anymore. And I doubt if you'll see that word in too much of the literature that we're using. But American Indian, or, you know, I think Ben called them Redskins, stirred up the Redskins. So as the questions come up, I would answer them that, you know, those were derogatory words that were used against people that were different than the colonists. And that's the fact of the matter. We can't erase history and pretend like it didn't happen. I think it's wonderful that your daughter has all those wonderful ethnicities as part of her background, because she has a very rich heritage. And so you want to emphasize the strength of all of those different races and the beautiful things about their culture with your daughter. And for the most part, a lot of those prejudices are not part of the culture that we live in today, fortunately. I mean, there still are traces, but you know, explaining to her what happened in the past and how to, you know, recognize that and appreciate her heritage is really important.
I have something to say too.
Yeah.
I think this is just a theme you can always go to. People are good and bad. You know, I'm good and bad. My kids are good and bad. Cultures have been good and bad, and that's a very sobering reality for kids. But it's also one that can allow them to blossom with respect and to appropriately grieve as well as embrace all cultures. And so that would be really different for your daughter than for some of our kids. But to go with her in on that process of talking about how, I mean, we just had a discussion the other day about what we did to Native Americans, our white heritage. And it was not a fun conversation, but it was an honest conversation. And it led to forgiveness and our role in it and our role today with our own prejudices and that kind of thing. So that's a really easy catch-all when we don't know what to do, is to go with that good bad and to talk about your own self. And, you know, when in doubt, that's a really easy thing to do too, because it's reality. And
I think the struggle is not so much like denouncing history. The struggle is, how do you say that someone was really good when they kind of did stuff that really wasn't that good? That's hard. To say this person was like a hero or this or that, when to your culture he really wasn't. That's right, I know. I'm just saying that that's the struggle, is to kind of be like, okay, like when we were reading the book, I didn't give her any prerequisites. She read the word and she read about slaves, and I let her think what she was going to think, and then we discussed it. Because I don't want to cloud her and kind of put things on there. I want to see how she reacts. And it was good. Like, I freaked out about it more than she did. Because she's just like, I am who I am, and she's like totally good with herself. But that's just the struggle. I mean, being in a racial unit, there's that struggle. So now to have literature that you're like, they're using a word that's like, wow. And it's just hard sometimes.
Yeah, and I think it's important to sort of have that sense of discernment. For instance, Ben is the one that uses the word redskin, you know, stirred up those redskins. And Ben is a really nasty character. I mean, he steals the boy's gun. You know, it looks like he's been banished from the town that he was in previously. And so it's important, really good authors will make those kinds of distinctions clear. Now,